Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Today, Christopher has two guests from the THS Remote Support Services. So stay tuned. Welcome back to another episode of Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Today, Christopher has two guests from THS Remote Support Services who are going to be sharing about different things that individuals who have various different disabilities can rely on. Chris, always a pleasure talking with you.
Always a pleasure to be here, Patrick. Yes, we're going to talk a little bit about remote support and different things that THS does. And it's always a great opportunity to learn what different remote support do. And their team works with multiple disabilities in different areas. And so I have Lisa and Dave here with me today. And I'm going to turn it over to Lisa. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're promoting remote support with THS.
Perfect. Thank you so much for inviting us to be part of this. I get really excited to talk about remote support. So I actually started as a behavior specialist. I worked in several different counties doing that with the county boards. And I first became familiar with remote supports back when the pandemic became a thing and we had the shutdown. And so everybody was stuck at home. And obviously, everybody knew there was a huge staffing crisis prior to the pandemic, but it was kind of really brought to light during the shutdown. And my heart just went out to all the providers and the people receiving services because providers just looked exhausted. They were overworked. People were getting sick and calling off really quickly, and nobody was very consistent in working because we were in the middle of a pandemic and it was a scary time to be in. And so a service coordinator approached me that I worked with, and she said, we got to figure something out. Our hearts were going out to these providers. They just, like I said, they looked exhausted. I ran into a couple of them at a grocery store, and my heart just hurt so much because everybody was just so tired and drained. And she had mentioned trying remote supports. Well, being a behavior specialist, that was scary. Thinking going from staffing in your home to utilizing technology to help support somebody. I wasn't very familiar with it. I had heard of remote supports, but I was intimidated. And so she had some familiarity with THS. And so we met with them to talk about a couple of our people that we serve together. And we met with the teams and we came up with a few game plans. And that was a game changer for me. I was able to watch how successful remote supports could be in some of these homes. I kind of crack a joke that I told my supervisor before we implemented remote supports in one of my homes that this was probably how I was going to get fired and end my career because I was so scared to try it. And then fast forward about 8 weeks of implementing remote supports in one of my homes, and the person that we were supporting with THS called me crying because he was so happy that the team listened to him and tried a little remote supports. And to be completely transparent, it broke my heart because that wasn't the reason why we added remote supports. We added it because there just wasn't the staff at that time. We were nervous about trying any supports that were less than having a physical staff there at the time. And so to be able to see how happy having some time away from people and being able to sit in his own home and watch TV or talk to his friends or do whatever in a safe way, but by himself, just seeing how happy he was and to see that it was successful for him, it actually made him more responsible, where he would be physically aggressive with staff if he wanted to leave or if he wanted to do something, but he started actually checking in with THS before he would leave his home. And he would call to confirm where he was at and when he would be home and what he was doing. And it made my heart so happy because it was way more successful than anything that I could have done as a behavior specialist, because we gave him some autonomy and some of that independence and that opportunity to really be himself and to like kind of spread his wings and see what he could do without somebody over his shoulder all the time. And so right then I was like, I was sold. I'm like, this is amazing. This is something that needs to be discussed across the board, because even though remote supports is not new by any means, it's been around for over a decade, it can work and it can be successful if it's implemented correctly and we listen to the person that we're supporting and we listen to the team that understands the person that we're supporting. So that's kind of why I'm at THS now, because I felt like I could do more here and make a lot of people happy by having that autonomy and independence, but still have that safety net of being supported and still having the opportunity to build relationships with staff, because it still is staff that's working with people. So that's why I'm at THS.
I really love it when I can feel the happiness, you know, in the remote support staff, and being able to, that excitement, you know, sitting here, I can feel your excitement coming through, because you're excited. It makes me excited. It makes me want to know more about it, because I think that that's a big thing. Our remote support team being happy and being excited about an individual being independent, going to the coffee shop by themselves, being able to, you know, just do anything on their own. Maybe there's times that they can't, but there's plenty of time that they can't.
And I understand the other side too, is that especially because over the time, I mean, over the years, technology has advanced, but we're so used to utilizing a physical person all the time that sometimes we've set limitations on the people we're supporting by not even doing it intentionally, but we haven't been able to really give people the opportunity to really expand their wings and really try to do these things. And so that's what I really do love about it. It gives people the opportunity to try things safely. So, and then have happy little lives like we all deserve, right?
That is so true. Dave, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role in THS.
I'm an account executive here at THS. I've been here for 4 years now. So I am the guy that you would talk to if you have any questions or concerns, or if anybody's like, what is remote supports? That's my job. I'm the guy that's your expert to answer questions, understand, like respond to what concerns are, how we do things. Because like Lisa said, people think it's new. It's been around for a decade. People don't know that, but you don't know what you don't know, right? So if you've never tried it, you've never heard of it, you're like, oh, scary. How is an Alexa going to help anyone? It can't even order groceries for me correctly. You know, remote supports is not an Alexa. It's a person just like you or me on the other end of a tablet, just like a FaceTime call. And we're here to help you out and be your staff. And a lot of people don't understand that remote supports is staff. We're just doing it on a Zoom call or a two-way talk device, an iPad, just like you would a FaceTiming your mom or your dad on a phone. So my job is to be here just to teach people what it is, how it works, what we can actually do. And once people kind of understand how it works, they're like, oh, that's kind of cool. You can do that too. You have that? You know, a lot of people don't understand that we have 450 pieces of equipment in our inventory that we could possibly use in anybody's home. It's not a cookie cutter setup. It's all custom to you and your situation and your circumstances. And we can make adjustments as we go. And everybody knows technology keeps getting better. There's smaller phones, there's smarter phones, there's different sensors and all kinds of different things. So just because we can't do some things sometimes, we can do it maybe another time. But, you know, like Lisa said, remote supports is there to be staffing in someone's home just without being on your couch all the time and hogging your remote. So it does give people a sense of being independent, but having us sitting there in the background just in case you need anything. We did bring a very introductory video to share with you guys so you can understand what is remote supports.
doesn't want her disability to prevent her from living independently, and because of remote support services, it won't. Remote support services utilize a network of sensors that report to a centralized hub and alert specialists when assistance is needed. Each network of sensors can be customized to the specific needs of an individual to ensure that they receive the best care possible through the least intrusive means possible. As an alternative to having direct support staff or caregivers in the home, remote support services are a great way to use resources more efficiently while increasing the independence of individuals with developmental and physical disabilities. But above all, remote support services are a great way to ensure health and safety. For more detailed information about remote support services offered by Total Home Care Solutions, contact us at 1-855-244-1711.
So, Dave, you were talking earlier about using remote support and someone, on your couch hogging up the remote. A lot of individuals or other providers feel like you're taking their jobs away. You're putting remote support in someone's home, and now they're not going to be able to have a job anymore. Is that true?
Well, that is a negative perception that people do get when you're working with providers, is that, oh no, they're coming to take our jobs. That's not the case. We actually provide services for over 150 actual providers to give them remote supports to offer to their clients. There's a staffing shortage, and it's been around since the pandemic. A lot of the baby boom generation all retired when COVID happened. They were like, I'm out. So we just don't have the people in place to replace them for workers. It's just the new reality. So you can see a lot of technologies like Uber trying to do self-driving cars because there's not workers anymore. So we do not replace jobs. There's a waiting list in the state of Ohio, Indiana, many, many different states that need direct care professionals. They're just not there. So what Remote Supports actually does is we partner with all of those in-home staffing agencies to be their remote support service wing of their organization. And then they can go to all of their clients and say, hey, would you like remote supports? We can give you some more autonomy. And then they can take the caregiver that's in the home and now go pick up a new client that needs staffing. So we don't actually take anyone's job because there is a staffing shortage. What we're doing is the more and more staffing agencies that utilize remote supports and get certified to offer the service, they can partner with someone like me. And now we can give all of those individuals that are on a waiting list more staffing options. So no, we are not taking anyone's job. We're actually giving them more individuals, more staffing options.
We also like to look at it. Obviously, we want to help the provider agency staff homes. But on the flip side, our job as the professional should be to help kind of work ourselves out of a job by helping the person we're supporting gain that independence. So instead of looking at it that jobs are being lost, realistically, we should be looking at it that the person we're all supporting together is achieving their goals, right? Of becoming more independent. And so we're that next step to help with that independence and that autonomy. And so it's really about the person we're supporting and not necessarily the staff that are working in the home. We want to work with them, obviously, but we all should be working with the same goal ultimately. And that's working ourselves out of a job because the people we're supporting are so independent. They don't really need us anymore, or maybe they just need drop-in service or, kind of whatever. So I really hope that as a system, we kind of start looking at it in more of a positive way across the board, that we're all in this to really support the people we're serving to become independent and achieve their goals that are outlined in the ISP, right?
Tell me if I'm hearing this right. Basically, you're coming into the home because there's a shortage of staffing, right? And you're not really taking their jobs away. You're just trying to back them up by allowing them to go to an individual's house that really need that extra help, that don't have a in-home staffing to help them at the moment, but they really need it. the person that has the remote support now may not need so much services in home. They can use the remote support and be able to get their help that way. So, and then that staffing can go to a different home to help the individual that really needs that in home 24 hours or whatever it may be. Is that correct? Am I hearing that correctly?
Once a provider gets certified to offer the remote support service, and they have to, it's just a certification, just like having to be certified to have in-home staffing. Once they get that certification, they can now go to all of their individuals that they serve and say, hey, listen, would you like to watch TV by yourself for a while? Would you be interested in remote supports and have some more independence? And if they have staffing shortages, they can now put remote supports in someone's home to cover shifts. So they can use it, providers can use it for two different ways: to cover staffing shortages, also to ask you, Chris, do you want some more independence? So now you have options with staffing instead of just only having one, and that's somebody on your couch.
What about the deaf and deaf-blind community? Because, a lot of times that community gets set aside. Number one, they say, can't afford interpreters. We can't afford to have video relay services. You hear the community say that a lot. Even medical professionals say, we don't know how to get a hold of an interpreter. We just don't have the funds to do it. What about your services helping that community?
That's a great question too, because you're right. We get emails all the time asking, and they're kind of reluctant, thinking we're going to say, no, we can't help. Obviously, it's case by case. We do not have any type of cookie cutter supports at all. But when we do consults, we listen to kind of what the need is and where the person is. We do support a relatively decent amount of people that have hearing impairments or deaf or blind. We try to get really creative as far as using lights, different color lights, things that could communicate to a person without maybe using words all the time. We have the capability, if the person is able to read, we can text people and they can text us back. We have specific pieces of technology that can shake to allow the person to know that we're trying to communicate with them. So like I said, it really is a case by case basis on how we can and how the person wants to be communicated with and how they're going to understand our communication. But we definitely can assist with both the deaf, hearing impaired, and blind community.
Yeah, and like Lisa said, it's a case by case basis. I mean, remote staffing is a really good option, Chris. You know this, having it yourself, but it's not for everybody. Some people need that in-home support, and that's why utilizing remote supports in those homes that can use remote supports is a big deal, because now you're going to free up the staff for those individuals that might be deaf or blind or other, issues that they might need someone there physically to help them. Having remote supports put in other homes just frees people up so that everybody can have staffing options.
We also do have several of our responders, which is what we call our direct care staff, that are ASL fluent. And so they are able to communicate as well. We can't guarantee you're always going to get one of them if they're not on shift. They're not on shift, but it has been a game changer for some of the people we serve, because instead of waiting for an interpreter, we can utilize people that already have been trained and understand ASL. And it's amazing to watch the people's faces light up when they start communicating and we can communicate back, and they're like, oh, and then, and so we try to think of everything. And obviously remote supports is getting bigger and better and, supports every single day. Just like technology, your TVs are getting smarter every day. We try to stay as advanced as possible.
That is awesome to know, because there is a big community, deaf-blind community out there that is sitting at their home and just sitting there and just facing a wall and nothing to do or no one to talk to. And it's so amazing to hear that your program has ASL interpreters or have staff that have learned ASL to be able to communicate with them and have different devices that could help them in their home and be able, when they feel down or they feel depressed, if you put a blindfold on or put some earplugs in, you sit around all day with that on. The next day, you're like, I've lost part of my world yesterday. I didn't know what happened. I don't know. I couldn't see it. I couldn't hear it. But knowing that your program has that connection is an awesome program, because I know the big communities out there, Cincinnati, Columbus, Cleveland, and most of them. It's amazing to hear you guys talk about that, because it brightens up my day knowing that I can interview certain folks that may have experience in that. And I also wanted to ask, do you guys have like a testimonial videos out there that could talk about how an individual loved the remote support that they get?
I'm glad that you asked. I think we did bring a video of a testimonial, so you can actually see what it looks like in the home from perspective of like yourself, Chris.
My name's Jim with Total Home Care Solutions.
And I'm Kevin Hill, and I work at Red Lobster.
We are a remote support vendor. So with Kevin, we set up some technology that helps him at night get supported safely. He's got a two-way talk device, some door sensors, some push buttons that he can say, hey, I need help. And when Kevin needs help, we can dispatch the backup staff to come and help him. We cover the overnights with Kevin, and he works at Red Lobster, like he said, so we work really well together. He tells us and communicates when he's coming home late, so we don't have to worry where he's at or if he's okay. But once he gets here, we're here if he needs us, and he's done really well for several years.
When I was 10 years old, I flew around with electronics. So it didn't take me very long to how to figure them out, because it's like a video game. I could figure out a video game without the instructions. Now, remote monitoring comes in handy for me. I don't need people to tell me like, Kevin, do this, Kevin, do that. I just do it on my own time when I feel like it. If the staff is in here and they're watching over me and they're like, that's just very uncomfortable. I just like have my space, and so I want to be more independent like I used to. A
lot of the equipment has been decreased, or has been eliminated actually, but he does know that it's there, why it's here, and it just provides him that additional level of security. Kevin's ultimate goal is to no longer have a guardian and to no longer have any of the supports. And when he sets his mind on a goal, he'll do anything he can to achieve it.
We're good to go.
All right.
So I'm going to let you go, Kevin. You have a good day, okay?
You do the same thing.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
So that was a wonderful video. And he was talking about working at Red Lobster. Do you guys do any support on a job site?
That is a great question. The cool thing about remote supports is we can be staffing in your home, or we can be your staffing on your wrist or a lanyard in the community. So we do become staff when someone's in a work environment. We did set up somebody a while ago that had seizures, but he wanted to keep his job at the stop and go store. But when he had a seizure, everybody kind of freaked out and they didn't know what to do, and he wasn't safe. So we got him a watch that knows when he's having a seizure, and then we can talk to him through it, and we can get him assistance if needed so he can keep his job. So we can be staffing inside of the house or outside of the home, depending on what the individual needs and what their concerns are.
Do you have a video of providers that you could share with us so others can see?
Yeah, like I said, we work with about 150 different providers so that they can offer this service to their individuals. So we did bring one so that you guys can see what it looks like on their side of things.
Hi, I'm Jamie Steele. I'm the President and CEO of OVRS, Ohio Valley Residential Services. We provide licensed group homes for people with developmental disabilities. Have been doing it since 1972. The So we had to find a partner to provide those remote supports, and THS was the natural partner for that. Our homes are unique in some ways, is that they're not traditional family-style homes. A lot of our homes are apartments. So people, even though it's a group home, even though it's a licensed home, people have the opportunity to live in their own apartments. In a number of our homes, which we do have remote supports, it provides an opportunity to be less intrusive in the person's home, so you don't have somebody there if you don't need them. It also obviously provides an opportunity if something happens during the night, they have a way of getting hold of a staff member to work through whatever issue it might be. I think a lot of providers that are wary about having remote supports really should look at the financial impact. So you're not paying an individual to be there, so you don't have that cost. On-site on-call is not it doesn't cover your cost. We lost money all the time with on-site on-call. If they can benefit from remote supports and it works for them, it actually does help financially to cover costs. It would take us a long time to learn how to do that. So that's why it's great that we have a partner in THS. We are an HPC agency. That's what we're good at. They're really good at the remote supports end, and it's a good partnership that way. It is wonderful backup system for DSPs because, hey, all of us, including our DSPs, have lives. And so, having the remote supports to be able to back them up so they can go home at the end of their shift and be with their family, and also feel secure that someone is there for the individual if they need them. And that's done through remote supports. All of us want a level of safety in our lives, right? We all want to feel like if we're having a problem, that we can reach out to someone. We need to look at remote supports kind of like that. If you are a person that doesn't want someone in your home all the time, and you don't need that service, then why are we doing it? And that's what remote supports does. It provides the opportunity for an individual to experience independence, to live in their home, which is what we all want. But if something comes up and you need somebody, at times when there's no one there, all it is a push a button away, How wonderful is that? That's what we do in our lives. And so it does create independence. It creates a level of safety and comfort for the individual. And it's really one of the best things that have happened to our field in a long, long time.
Hey, this has been Technology for Independence with Christopher Cooley. Chris talked with Lisa and Dave about the THS Remote Support Services.